So what are our strengths and weaknesses in comparison to the rest of the division? Let's check it out. Welcome back, Raider Nation, and my champions. This is Eric. I don't know what happened to that last screen. That should have actually been showing there. It did not show. I did update it. Kind of crazy with that. How you doing? That I see Dominique in here already. How you doing? Yes, we are back. I got a new shirt, camouflage for the 4th of July week. How was your 4th of July, guys? Put it in the chat right now. But while you talk about that, I'm going to talk about what we're going to talk about tonight, and that is I did another Tiermaker. I did this last season. Last time we were on, we did a Tiermaker as far as the whole conference to see where we stood, where I think we stood. Unfortunately, I had us at the very bottom, especially with the things going on with Jimmy G and this whole situation. Not much news on that. I will talk about Josh Jacobs and some other Raider news. We have some official dates as far as training camp goes. We're going to go over that as well, but the bulk of this is we're going to talk about this as far as a Tiermaker. We did this last season by position, so we're going to go quarterback, running back, wide receiver, etc. Basically going through the depth chart for each team and just kind of weighing it out where I feel we are as far as strengths and weaknesses compared to the rest of the division. So let's see. I see you out there, Dominique. What's up? What's up to you? I got a couple more people filing in. I want to say hello to you guys as well. Thanks for joining the program. Of course, if you do enjoy this, why not subscribe, like, and do all that good stuff. Let's get to what I want to talk about. Now, of course, this is how we normally do it. Well, it's called the rundown here. So I'm going to put this as a banner at the bottom so it doesn't take as much room. Of course, these are the subjects we're going to talk about. Of course, I'm going to go over that Raiders news, like I said before, and that's going to include what's next, not only with the Raiders, but the channel, of course. We'll talk a little bit about that, and then turn it over to you for some question and answers. Of course, we are kind of in the dog days of summer here. Training camp does not start for a few more weeks. Not a whole lot of content to go over. There is some talk. I will get over that, get into that as far as Josh Jacobs and the franchise situation with an extension. But let's talk about you guys. That's the champions. Now, of course, the channel has been pretty stagnant. I'm not going to get into all that. I do appreciate you guys coming out here and watching this. And if you are new to the program and you're watching this on a replay, why not join up? Subscribe to the channel, of course, like as well, and then next time we're on, you can kind of join us in the discussion here live with us as well. So let's get to what I want to talk about next. Is our poll of the week. Now I do a poll every week that I come on live. Now this week is no exception. I wanted to ask you something relative to what we're going to talk about, and I wanted to know your opinion on which area do you think we have a clear advantage over our divisional rivals. I put running back because of the Josh Jacobs, receiving core, edge rushing, kicking game, and other. Most of you put the receiving core. I did add tight ends there. We'll break that up when we do our Tiermaker and go over that as well. But yeah, probably so. I would say the receiving core. I think edge rushing. I'll get into what I think about the edge rushing. I put Tyree there as well. I'll get to that once we get to the Tiermaker. I think they could make a run for this award here. But right now I got to go with the receiving core. A lot of talent there. Especially of course with Tay Renfro, Myers, another guy that can catch the ball. So that's where I would go right now. So let's go to our next subject. Of course, let's talk about this Tiermaker action. Let's do it. All right, how you guys doing out there tonight? I see another person kind of popped in. How you guys doing? I'm right here. So this is what we're going to do. I'm on the Tiermaker site, so you can see this above me. Whoop, wrong way. Right above me, right here. I also wanted to show the actual I've made a little spreadsheet of the starters right now. So let's get right there. I'll pull that up So we're going to go line by line. Now, I do have the logos. Of course, I'm going to say first, second, third, and fourth. They're currently in the position where they finished. So don't take for that, for the running back, wide receiver positions. Where I stand with that, I'll let you know in a minute. But we're going to be scrolling down. I'm going to show you where we stand as far as that goes. Hey, Sandy B, I see you in here. Let me see. Ooh, hang on a second. We got to get that up. There we go. Hey, Sandy B, how you doing tonight? So we're going to go over Tiermaker by position for the Raiders here. And after this, we're going to go over some Raider news. I'm going to talk about a little bit about Josh Jacobs, and then moving forward with the team, what's going to be happening here. So let's go to the quarterback position. Of course, I'm going to show, according to ESPN.com, there's going to be a little fluctuation here, of course. Some of these guys might not even make the 53-man roster. I think with the quarterback position, they will, of course. I'm not going to go there, but as we go down, and also, nice shirt. Thank you. It's my camo shirt. I was looking for a Navy one. They didn't have one, so I went with the Army. So, Independence Day, July 4th, so we'll go with that. We're all on the same team when it comes right down to it, of course. So, as far as the quarterbacks go, we'll talk about that in a minute, but I wanted to lay out a little bit more ground rules. I took the starting depth chart from ESPN.com. That can fluctuate. I don't want to go through each and every player on each and every team. That's really not going to do us much good right now. So, but also I wanted to also mention that when we get to the defensive side of the ball, 2 teams run predominantly a 4-3 and 2 run a 3-4 predominantly. So I've adjusted that accordingly. So if you see different players in different areas, that's why. So yes, Army's good. So is Navy. Absolutely. So let's get to the quarterback position. So I'm going to show you who the starters are as far as the depth chart goes at ESPN.com. I think it's probably pretty solid. Might be some changes by the time we get to the season start, but I would say as far as quarterback goes, unless Jimmy G fails out of that physical, I think he'll be our starting quarterback to start the season. Of course, Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, Russell Wilson. So who am I going to put on here? I mean, it shouldn't be any surprise. I mean, unless you want to be a total homer, we got to put Patrick Mahomes number 1. He's got 2 Super Bowl rings. Just came off a outstanding season, winning this 2nd Super Bowl. It is what it is. I don't like it, of course, but he's the top dog. The Chiefs are the top dog, not only in the division, 8 in a row now, but also the National Football League. So, and like I've said before, it's a quarterback league, so of course it's going to start with him. So that's a no-brainer. Unless, of course, you want to be a homer and knock him down. But if you want to be realistic, this is what it is. So to kind of get this down here, between Wilson and Herbert, I'm going to put Justin Herbert second. I think Wilson's going to benefit from Sean Payton being the head coach now. But let's face it, he's on the back end of his career. He's not the MVP he used to be. I said that before. I thought Denver overpaid for him hugely, and they also gave draft picks up to get the rights to Sean Payton. I mean, overall it's going to work, but it's going to hurt them in the future. We'll talk about that a little bit later as we get to the other positions. So kind of lays it down between Wilson and Jimmy G. Of course, I got to go with Russell Wilson. I mean, if we had Derek Carr here, I would probably put him third, maybe second to Mahomes at best. But right now, I mean, Russell Wilson, especially with, like I said, the new addition of Sean Payton, I think that's going to be the difference for them versus last season. So that's where I stand as far as the quarterbacks go. Let's go to the running back position. Excuse me. Go back to the running back position. So I just put the top 2 guys on the depth chart. Of course, a lot of teams are playing committee. So we've got Josh Jacobs, Zamir, Isaiah Pacheco over CH. CH is currently technically on the team, but I mean, probably might not even make the team. Kind of a flop at this point. Austin Eckler, little contract dispute. They've kind of settled it a little bit with some performance based metrics on his extension. But that one's still kind of in limbo as well. Kelly's backing him up. I'm not going to put Spiller there. I think Kelly's probably the clear number 2 in my book. And then we got Javonte and Samaje Perine. So that's going to be very interesting. Of course, Javonte coming off an ACL tear. I don't think he's going to be back till the second half of the season. I said this before, and he's probably not going to be 100% this year anyway. And they got Perine, the backup to Joe Mixon from Cincinnati. To me, it made complete sense to do that. So where do I stand as far as the top, as far as running backs? I mean, I can be a homer, but I mean, I got to put Austin Eckler number 1 here. If you look at it's kind of a 1A, 1B. I'm gonna give Josh Jacobs. This is one thing. I think he's gonna be here one more year, and he's gonna be gone. They still have a contract in place, so I'm gonna give it one more year with Josh Jacobs. He was the rushing leader. Austin Eckler's pretty great as well. He adds that extra dimension with the receiving game as well. Gets an ungodly amount of touchdowns. So you probably put those 1A, 1B. I think before last season, Eckler was number 1. Jacobs really kind of exploded last season. So to me, it kind of comes down between these guys. This one's a little bit a little bit harder than you would think. I'm gonna put this one here. I think Samaje Perine was pretty admirable in the stead of Joe Mixon as his backup when Mixon would be hurt. I think Javonte Williams is better than either Chiefs player, but I think right now, of course, he's hurt. It's not going to be 100%. This one could maybe go either way. I know just with the fact with Andy Reid being an offensive guru, who's going to use Pacheco more, McKinnon, a very dangerous weapon, especially in the receiving game, the red zone. I think you could go either way with those. So I think 1 and 2 could go either way, and I think 3 and 4 could go either way. Sandy B says she likes to. I like Jacobs too, but I think Austin Eckler is right there with him. And like I said, before last season, Eckler was number 1 for sure. Just given that. So we're going to scroll down to our wide receivers. And I just put the top 3 here. This is kind of what the starters would likely be on each team. So we got, of course, Tay, Renfro, Myers. Renfro's still on the team, was not traded, was not moved. I think he's going to still be here at least to week 1. Now, I've talked about maybe he gets moved mid-season if we flop down to, and they're just trying to cut, get some more draft picks for next year or what have you. I could see that happening, but right now, I think he's going to be the starter. So you got Kadarius Toney, MVS, of course, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, and Sky Moore. So Sky Moore and Toney are relatively newcomers onto the scene. Toney, a little bit more seasoned. He was with the Giants. Came over last season. Did pretty well in the playoffs. Juju Smith-Schuster is gone. Where did he go? I forgot where he went to. But he's gone. Basically a slot guy. I think a lot of people were looking for Toney to kind of step up and be the wide receiver 1 right here. Let's go to the Chargers here as far as Keenan Allen, Mike Williams. Kind of stalwarts there. Keenan Allen a little long in the tooth now. Injuries are kind of starting to stack up. Still pretty good when he's healthy. Quentin Johnson, rookie from TCU. Is going to add another dimension to that offense for sure. And then you got the Broncos here, about $30 million in cap space with these 3 guys. Cortland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy, Tim Patrick. There was a lot of rumors, and I thought it would happen. They would move at least one of these guys. It didn't happen. They're all still there. So as far as wide receivers core, these are all pretty good. I mean, if you're asking me to compare these to the NFL, the other 32 teams, definitely all 4 of these teams are above average as far as the core from, these top 3 guys. So as far as this goes, of course, I'm gonna put our guys first. It's not a homer pick. I mean, look around here. Devontae Adams is the best wide receiver down the line. You tell me one player that's better down this line right now. I don't see it. Renfro's a stud. Hopefully he can bounce back. Jacoby Myers will be there as well. That kind of bounces it to another group. I'm going to put the Broncos here because now we have Sean Payton here, somebody who knows how to run an offense finally. And I think these guys are really going to be utilized. Big players for the most part. Patrick and Sutton, like I've said, they bully our cornerbacks left and right. They're going to be a problem for us. I'm going to put them right there. I'm going to put the Chargers third. It's tough because you got to give Andy Reid his props because he's such a stud as a coach, an offensive-minded coach, that he's going to get the best out of his guys. So Chargers, not so much. Staley, I'm not so impressed with his coaching ability, but I think the talent is a little bit better with the LA San Diego team, whichever one you want to call them. And the Chargers fourth, but like I said, I think all four of those groupings are above average if you compare them to the rest of the National Football League. All right, let's get to our next one, and that is going to be offensive line. So let's do that. So I've kind of grouped them up. These are the starting five, according to, like I said, ESPN.com. Okay, let's go over this one by one. Miller Parham, Andre James, of course, he's still on the team. I thought he would be cut. He has not been cut. I guess we're going to pay him like $7.5 million. I hope they can restructure. That's way too much, to be honest with you. That's way too much to me to pay for a center, let alone an average center. I would call him kind of an average center. Alex Bars is terribly still on the team. We did re-sign Jermaine Illuminor, which was a plus, an absolute plus at right tackle. I would say he's above average. I wouldn't say he's like a stud, a top 5 guy. I would say Miller is at his position. But Illuminor is good enough. I think he's average to above average at the position. I think he's pretty solid there. We could do much worse. I think we still have some work to do on the interior side. Chiefs here. They went out and got Orlando Brown, paid him big money, 1 year. He's gone now. They went and got Jawan Taylor, formerly a pick of Jacksonville. I think it was at Baltimore as well. ESPN has him at right tackle. This is where I put him. I don't think they're going to pay him that much. I think he's going to move to left side. That makes sense to me. Why pay him that kind of money to put him on the right side? Thuney was there before. Humphreys, the draft pick, really kind of turned out well. I think pretty solid overall. Then you got the Chargers. Rashawn Slater, injury bug hit him. Absolute stud at left tackle. Great pickup, first-round pick. Lindsley, former Green Bay Packer, vet, above-average center. Pipkins has been pretty good. Zion Johnson's kind of working into his own. Another draft pick. Not too bad there. Now the Broncos, they've kind of overhauled this offensive line. Dominique, haven't seen you in a while. Sandy, yes. We haven't seen Sandy in a while. She's been a little busy. That's okay. Broncos have kind of overhauled this line, especially with getting Ben Powers, Quinn Menertz, and then McGlinchey here, a guy I think the Gruden era was trying to target as the left tackle. 49ers jumped up and grabbed him ahead of us. We ended up going back and getting Colton Miller later on in that draft. Injury bug, they moved him to the right side. I think if he's not hurt, he's a pretty decent right tackle. But the problem with him is injuries. They're kind of stacking up with him now. So as far as my rankings go on offensive line, I'm going to go with the Chargers, number one. I say this because I'm going to assume they had a lot of injuries last year. I'm going to assume they're not going to get bit as much. Every team has injuries, but I think they had more so than most, especially on offensive line. I think that they're going to be a little healthier this year and look a little better. I'm going to go with the Chiefs second. I couldn't put them first because I want to see Jawan Taylor on the left side. He's played right his whole time. Like I said, ESPN has him on the right side, so I don't see them paying that kind of money for a right tackle, but who knows? If they do, I'm I want to see that, especially once we get to the pass rushers here, when we get to the defensive side. If he doesn't work out at left tackle, I think that's, I won't say it's a bust, but kind of I would not have had that signing for him. And then it brings down to 2. This one's difficult. I think both Raiders and the Broncos, their offensive lines are kind of iffy right now. You could put, I think the first two are pretty solid. What did I do? I've got offensive line. They swapped it. It was offensive line. We'll get to tight end in a minute. I think it's pretty iffy. Let me get this back over. But I'm gonna go with the Raiders third because of Colton Miller. To me, I think he's a top 5 left tackle. I think Illuminor is pretty solid. I think it'll be easier for us to work on the interior line than for the Broncos to rely on Mike McGlinchey, especially with the injuries right now. So, yes, condolences to you, Sandy, on that. So, let's go to the next one. Well, I did skip. That was my fault. I did skip over that because it jumped. My little scroller jumped. Let's get to the tight ends. Let's get to the tight ends. I will. With this one, I did add punter and kicker to this, by the way. I think it's very important because of how these teams play against each other. Field position is going to be a key. Getting field goals. We played a lot of close games even with the Chiefs. We had a close game. One of them was a close game. I think, especially with Denver right now, trying to go on the rise with the new coach. The Chargers were always kind of playing within a score, so I wanted to add that to it. So I will have to reuse one of these. So I'll just drop this one in. So let's see. Yeah, tight end. Yes, tight end. So we got Austin Hooper, and I've talked about Austin Hooper before. He looked good with Atlanta, not so much with Cleveland. We got him in here. The price was okay. I can't really complain about the contract. And then we drafted Meyer from Notre Dame. Pretty solid one. I think that's a pretty solid pick. A lot of Dave Casper comparisons. That's going to have to wait, of course. Kind of looks the same size, same number. We'll see. We'll see with that. Of course, Travis Kelce, all-world. Everett, a guy they picked up last season from the Rams, who I think was very underrated in that offense, and I think was a pretty good pickup for them. He's still there. And then Broncos, I just call him Big O, Owiga Owanagum, I think is how you pronounce it. And Greg Dulcich, a draft pick. I think one of those is going to battle it out and win the top spot. Do I know that yet? That's why I kind of put both there, because I'm not sure who's going to get it. Same thing with here, honestly. If Mayer shows out, I mean, he could take over for that position, and quite frankly, I wouldn't mind it because, you know, like I said, I feel we're in a rebuilding year anyway. It's time to get the young blood in here to see what they got and hopefully work out for us. So this one shouldn't be this one should be totally obvious, just like the quarterback position. I mean come on, Travis Kelce, arguably the best tight end in the game right now. So I mean, again, if you want to be a homer, put somebody else there, but I'm going to be a realist. So kind of gets us down to 3 here. I'm going to put I'm not going to be a homer here, but I'm going to put the Raiders second here, and here's why. I'm going to assume Jimmy G is going to be there. It's going to be a short passing game. I think they're going to be utilized way more, and I think it could kind of be a crapshoot between them and Denver right now. So I'm going to put the Broncos third. And then I'm going to put the Chargers fourth. Nothing against Everett. I think there's a lot of other weapons there. They got a lot of other mouths to feed. And I don't think they're going to promote the tight end too much, except maybe, catching passes in the red zone or something like that. But then again, Eckler gets, what he get, like 20 touchdowns or something crazy. So I would put that fourth. Nothing against Everett. I think he's a solid tight end. And matter of fact, I'd probably rather have him than Hooper at this point. Just based on what Hooper did with Cleveland, not impressed at all. So that's where I stand as far as the tight end. So that gets us to the defensive side of the ball. Now, remember, I added one, so I lost some, so I'm just going to reuse this. So defensive line, I'm going to move these up. Let's see, defensive line. That's not my standing here. Let's move this one up here. And like I said, now if you see, let me tap this just a little bit. So if you see here, I have 2 for the Raiders and Chiefs, 3 for the Chargers and Broncos. That's because the Raiders and Chiefs predominantly 4-3 defense, Chargers and Broncos predominantly 3-4. So I'm going to put the edge rushers as the outside linebackers. You'll see that with when we get to the Chargers, of course, that's pretty much the case there. So let's get to this, though. Bilal Nichols was not very impressed with, let's be honest with you. I think the running defense was better, but interior rush was not there. I think he benefited from the talent around him in Chicago, but he's still here. I don't know what we're going to do about that. Didn't really address it in the draft. Nothing of high value. I know we have Neil Farrell in the wings as well, and Butler. So we'll see. I'm not too impressed. Jerry Tillery again. I'm hoping he's like my comeback player. If he can ball out, that'd be great. Former first round pick of the Chargers. I've talked about that. Chris Jones and Noddy, both pretty darn good. And I'm gonna leave that right there. The first one with the Chiefs. I think that's the best defensive interior in the division. And to me, honestly, it's not even close. It's not even close with those two guys. And I think Noddy is underrated because Chris Jones is so darn good. The Chargers, Fox, Johnson, Joseph Day. Johnson and Joseph Day were free agents last season. Fox is this season. And then the Broncos getting Clark from the Chiefs. What a coup. ESPN has him as a 3-4 defensive end. Probably what's going to happen. Then they got Jones, Zach Allen. I'm going to put the Chiefs first, and then who I'm going to pick second. Let me move it. It's not going to be the Chargers. I'm going to put the Denver Broncos there with Clark. I think that's a step up. Not just that, I think the other two aren't that good. As a matter of fact, I'm going to put the Raiders third. The Chargers were absolute crap. I think they were in the bottom 5 of stopping the run. And 2 of those 3 guys were there last season, and so I'm not too worried about it. I think the Chargers and Broncos are more so exploiting their run defense. I've talked about that before with our divisional look with each team, looking at our rivals. So I think that's where you get these guys, and you get them hard. So let's go to edge rusher. Let's go to edge rusher, of course. A lot of big names here. A lot of big names on this docket right here. Let's see. Let's get that. So I did add Tyree Wilson because he was a first round pick, 7th overall. You could take him off or take Jones off if you want to do that. I'll get to that in a minute. Menahu from Houston, and Karlaftis was a former, I believe, first round pick. Edge rushers, of course, Frank Clark departed. We just talked about him going to the Broncos. Khalil Mack, Joey Bosa. What can you say? Mack restructured, so he's staying there. Bad news for us, everybody else in that division. And then Baron Browning and Randy Gregory. Gregory kind of a wild card. When he plays, he's good. A little bit of off the field issues, some injury issues as well. So as far as these guys go, this one's tough because I'm not going to say they're all above average. I would say I I would say at least 2 of them are above average. Let's see. Let me get what I would say as far as this goes. I'm going to put... wrong one. I'm going to put the Raiders number 1 right there. I think... and this is why I'm going to say it. Now, you can say Chandler Jones had a crappy year. He's going to be cut next season. After he's got 1 more year. Cap will be friendly. The cap cut, I think 3 or 4 million. It's nothing, relatively speaking. We got Tyree Wilson to take his place. I think he's going to ball out. I think Chandler Jones could have double-digit sacks this year, because this could be like a Josh Jacobs situation where he's going to want to get paid. He's going to want to get that final payday. He's 32, 33. He's going to want to get that final payday. He's going to ball out. He's going to do everything he can to get those sack numbers up. And then, of course, Tyree Wilson's going to come into his own. Of course, Max is a stud. That's without question. We don't have to talk about that. But so let's go over the other 3. Got to put it here. The only thing stopping those 2 are injuries, of course. Bosa's had some significant injuries the last couple seasons, to be honest with you. But when they're healthy, they can create havoc. And Mac can play the run too. He's not exactly the Mac of when he was with us, but he's still pretty darn good. Let's get to the last one. I'm going to leave that there. I'm going to put... I think the Chiefs are... it's going to be a little underrated. Plus, they got Jones inside. Jones and Noddy who are going to provide pressure inside. That's going to help the edge rushers on the outside as well. The Broncos, I'm not seeing that as much in their situation with those 2 guys. So that's my edge rushing one. So let's get to the linebacker one. Let's move this up to linebacker. Hang on. And so for us, we got Masterson, of course, Robert Spillane, and Divine Diablo, and that's how they have him right now. I could see Diablo being in the middle, though, but they have Spillane in the middle right now. Chiefs, Drew Tranquil, former Charger, with the team now. Nick Bolton, Willie Gay, former draft picks. Of course, they moving Bolton inside. That's where he played, I believe, Purdue. No, Missouri. I think he played with Missouri. That was his natural position, middle linebacker. Kenneth Murray, Eric Kendricks, former Viking. I think he's kind of on the back end of his career. Didn't really get the payday he wanted before. I think maybe 3-4 seasons ago, that would have been a heck of a signing for the Chargers. Julian Singleton coming back again. If you've heard what I've said about the front 7 of the Broncos, especially post Von Miller era, post Bradley Chubb era, you pretty much know where I'm going to rank the Broncos here. So let's get to that. As far as linebacker goes, I got to give it to the Chiefs. I'm going to leave that there. They've drafted well, those 2 guys. I think Drew Tranquil was a pest when we had to play him on the Chargers. So he can also rush the quarterback, as we've seen. So I think for this group, I think they're the best. Second, I think it's kind of a fight for second. I mean, you could probably put any of these guys. I'll probably, just for the fact that Kendricks is the veteran and is probably shown more than any of the other guys on the list of the other 3 teams, I'll leave the Chargers there. I'm going to leave the Raiders there and leave it in that order with the Broncos. Just because veteran leadership does count. I do not think they're going to be great, but I think they're going to be better than us. I would love to be proven wrong here. We lost Perryman. If we had Perryman, I think we would fight for the Chiefs on the top spot for that group linebacking core. Perryman's gone. I want to see Spillane do something outside of having a good defense around him. Let's face it, Steelers defense way better than ours. This could be a Bilal Nichols situation where he comes to a crappier defense and not show up as much as he did with his former team. Let's go to the corners. So, again, this is what ESPN has as the number 1 on the depth chart. Of course, Duke Shelley, Nate Hobbs, I would prefer to see Nate Hobbs at the slot. We didn't really address the outside corner position. We didn't address DT. I don't know what we're doing. To be honest with you, I think Hobbs is better inside. He has his flashes, but I think inside's better for him. He's a little bit smaller. I'm a little worried going up against the Cortland Suttons and Tim Patrick's, just kind of getting overpowered, and they're just going to do jump balls and catch it, and So anyway, Snead and McDuffie, no real change there. Sante Samuel, Patrick Surtain, second generation guys. They're studs. J.C. Jackson was hurt last season. Missed 4 or 5 games. So I'm expecting a little bit more from him. So as far as my rankings go, I'm going to put the Chargers first on that, and they should be. They gave J.C. Jackson a ton of money. Asante Samuel, former first round pick. To me, they better show up. They've got a lot of draft and cap capital with that position. So the next one, I'm going to put it with the Broncos. I think, not to say McDuffie's bad, I think, and Snead, but I think it looks like the Chargers and Broncos, they're better on the outside, not so much on the inside. And I keep saying this. They have Chargers have good edge rushers, but as far as the interior defensive line, interior linebacker, you can run all over both those teams. Until they show me otherwise, I'm not seeing it, and we haven't seen it, to be honest. So I'm gonna give but they are pretty good in the secondary, both of those teams, Chargers and Broncos. So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna leave that there, Chiefs third, and I think their group is a little bit better. I wanna see what we can do. We haven't really had. I mean, last season, these are brand new. We had Rocky Sin and Mullen at the top spots. They're both gone, of course. I don't know. This is another area of need for this team, and it has been for several years. We're just going to see. I mean, at this point, for the Raiders to be successful, we have to hope to God our edge rushers can get to the quarterback. If the quarterbacks have any time, I think we're in trouble as far as pass defense. So, and let's get to the next one, which is safety. Let me scroll this down. We'll talk about safety here. Let's see. So, of course, we have Trayvon Merrick. Little sophomore slump. We talked about that. Epps coming in from Philly. A lot of people are pretty high on him. I think that's a pretty okay signing. I'm not as high as a lot of people are on him. Cook and Reed. Juan Thornhill moved on. I believe he went to the Browns free agency. So that's a big hit for the Chiefs as far as the safeties go. Gilman and Derwin James, former first-round pick, kind of fell to them. Nasir Adderley retired relatively young. I think, 25 years old. So Gilman's taking his place. And then you got Isaiah Simmons, Kareem Jackson. They've been there. They've been a stalwart there as well. So if you've been listening to me, if you just listened to me about 2 minutes ago, you should pretty much understand my rankings here. I think the Broncos and Chargers are better at the secondary than either of the other two teams. But I like the Broncos safeties a little bit more than the Chargers. This one could go either way. I'm going to put that here. I think Merrick's going to bounce back. I think the veteran with Epps there over. I think that is definitely an upgrade over Abram. We'll see if he's better than Deron Harmon, who played admirably. I don't think he's that great, but he played pretty well at times. I think you go either way, 3 and 4 with that one. And then the last one, let's get to this as far. And that's why I kind of ran out of. They won't let you add more logos, so I kind of ran out. I wanted to add punter and kicker. I didn't have it last year. So you can see Cole, Daniel Carlson, Townsend Butker, Scott and Hopkins, Dixon and Fry. So I think, honestly, I think this is between the Raiders and the Chiefs. The top spot, I think the other two teams have significant questions. Epps is liked. Hey, my opinion is in the house. Epps is liked. How you doing? So, as far as this goes, if I'm going to be honest, got to be honest here, I'm going to put the Chiefs just a little bit ahead of the Raiders here. Not by much. It's not much of a difference here. I mean, if you look at the punters, both top 5 as far as distance goes. I believe Townsend was second last year. Cole was fourth. Carlson has a big leg. I think Butker might have a little bit longer. I think he had like a 62-yarder. I think Carlson had like a 57, 58. Like I said, I honestly don't think there's a whole lot of difference. Maybe the Chiefs a little tiny bit better there with the kickers. Then we go to the Chargers and Broncos. Now the Chargers, they got J.K. Scott, former L.A. Ram. Not so good. Well, no, he was about 10th. Not as good as the other two. Hopkins, terrible year for him as far as field goal kicking. Then you got Dixon, who was below average, and Fry, who is a rookie. Of course, that could change as their kicker goes. I think he's from South Carolina. So right now, there's a little bit more unsteadiness. I'm gonna leave it as it is, just because they got a rookie kicker. Has not proven himself in the league yet with Denver with Fry. Hopkins not, but I think Raiders and Chiefs are kind of the cream of the crop here in the division as far as the kicking game goes. So that's what I have. But what say you? What do you agree with some of my rankings? Do you disagree? Let me know in the chat right now. I want to say hello to everybody in here. Let's get this back going. There's one other thing I want to talk about. So get your comments in chat right now. There we go. How you guys doing out there? One other thing I want to talk about, and I said I had some Raider news. Now, Josh Jacobs has not signed yet. Technically, I'm hearing 2 different dates. Everywhere else says July 17th, except for the Raiders. This is from Raiders.com, and this is their schedule here. It says July 14th. Basically, that's the deadline where, in the league, anybody who was franchise tagged, if you do not have a long-term deal in place by then, you cannot negotiate for one until the end of the year, end of next or this season coming up. So they're saying the 14th. Everybody else says the 17th. Doesn't really matter because Josh Jacobs hasn't been signed. The bad business quotes on Twitter and all this other nonsense. I still think he's only going to be here one season. That's it. I don't think we're in a long-term deal out of him. I would like to. I don't think it's going to happen. I think he's going to be here for one season, kind of ball out again, and then go get paid. So I also wanted to show the other things here. They've actually shown when we are going to be officially at training camp. July 20th, the rookies report. They always report a few days earlier. And then everybody else, all the vets, July 25th. So July 25th, that's about 3 weeks from now, a little less than 3 weeks from now, we'll have training camp. And that's kind of the unofficial start of the season, probably the official start to me of the preseason. And then I don't know why they put the Hall of Fame game here on Raiders.com. We're not in it. Jets and Browns, who cares? And then it has the 3 games we're going to have: the Niners, at the Rams, and at the Cowboys. August 13th, 19th, and 26th. We'll talk more about that, of course. Talk a little bit about that. Go over the games, what we've seen as well once we get to there. I like this. I like this old school thing with Dallas. I remember Al Davis. We used to always play the Cowboys in the preseason, and we kind of went back to that, so I kind of like that. And then the 53-man roster deadline, August 29th. That's huge, huge. They have some other deadlines as well. They didn't put those in here, getting to 70. I think right now it's 90 you can have, so that includes like walk-ons. So you can put people on reserve. Somebody can sign them off reserve and put them on their active roster if they want to, or you can outright cut people. We'll get into that more in August once that kind of gets more applicable. So, and then of course the 11th of September, the season opener at Piled High, Raiders Broncos. I I put it as a win. A lot of you put it as a loss. I think it could go either way. I think we'll split with Denver finally. Denver will finally beat us. It hasn't been, like I said, since the Oakland Raiders. They have not won a game against the Las Vegas Raiders yet. So I think that streak will be broken this year, though. So anyway, so that's the news I have. Again, not a whole lot going on. Like I said, this is the dog days of summer. Unless something crazy happens with Jimmy G or something happens with Josh Jacobs, there's really not going to be a whole lot of news right now. That's honestly, and you can see it. A lot of the other creators aren't either not doing much, or they're drinking extra fireballs, or a Tabasco challenge, or whatever the hell Chat Sports is doing. Again, I think it's ridiculous, but they get views. They get views for it, so that's why they're doing it. So I can't really knock them for doing it because people watch it. Well, they like the jackass portion of content created for the Raiders, I guess. So anyway, so what say you? I want to get your opinions in here. I've also got a live poll. I asked, what position are you guys the most concerned about on the Raiders right now? 43%. It's kind of neck and neck between quarterback and defensive line. To me, it's quarterback. It's a quarterback league. Jimmy G is still in the air. He has not officially been cleared. Everybody's saying he'll be okay for training camp. As Raider fans, we've been through this circus. Okay, we've been through so many different things. I cannot trust. Until it happens, then I'll believe it. I got to see it to believe it with this team, to be honest with you. So quarterbacks up in the air right now. What, Brian Hoyer, Aiden O'Connell, rookie? What are we going to do there? I mean, what happens? What happens if he doesn't? What happens if he fails his physical? Yes, of course. Don't forget to subscribe, especially you newcomers. I get a lot. It's weird because I don't know if people aren't getting notified or they just don't care about the channel anymore. A lot of my subs don't come here on the lives, but I get a lot of views after the fact. So they're watching this thing, and it's like, if you're watching this far, why not come sub to the channel and you can get your input? As a matter of fact, I can set up the live chat and we can talk that way if you want to. I've done it a couple times. Nobody's gone on there, so I didn't set it up beforehand. It'll only take me a minute if you do want to get on and speak live. You don't have to be on camera. Of course, you need a microphone so we can hear you. But why not do that? Why not come on here and converse? Why watch it later? I know some people are busy doing other things. I get that, but not everybody. So I want to hear what you guys have to say. Let's see. Raiders kickers. Oh, so you got the Raiders kickers number one. I think it could be either way. But statistically, the Chiefs were a tiny bit better. They're the defending champs. I'll give them that. I mean, I'm fair with this. I'm not going to be a total homer. I think what's fair is fair. It's kind of same thing with the running back position. Kind of bouncing back and forth between Josh Jacobs and Austin Eckler. To me, they're 1A, 1B. They're both very dynamic. Can take over a game for you. But Austin Eckler gives you a little bit more in the receiving game, of course, and for some reason gets a ton of touchdowns. Gets a ton of touchdowns. So best Raider channel. Appreciate that. I appreciate that, Sandy. So normally go till about 8 o'clock, 1 hour. So we are on Raider time 7:47. Of course, that is Raider time, whether you're in Oakland, LA, or Las Vegas. It is Pacific Coast time. And just want to get your input. Again, I'm only coming on every other week because, frankly, there's not a whole lot going on. And, if you want to talk about things, we can talk about it. Probably do this again, the other 2-week thing. That'll get us to the 21st because it's 7 p.m., 777. So maybe some good luck for the Raiders since we're on tonight. I hope so. Or maybe I should just go to the casino. Maybe that would be good too. Who knows? So probably the next time will be 2 weeks from now, the 21st. That gets us right before. The rookies will report on the 20th, as it said. So probably won't be a whole lot of news, though, to be honest with you. And even when they report, if you were here last season, some of my OGs, they don't get really into pads and contact for like another week or two after that. So Of course, that was all bargained with the players union and all that, so they can only do so many practices, off season, so many mandatory things and all that. So they're not going to be in contact for at least probably another week, 10 days after training camp starts, and then they'll do that like a week or two before. Then we'll get into the games. Now, to me, that's what I want to see. Now, not necessarily a guy on the fringe is necessarily going to make the team. We've seen that with like guys like Tanner Muse, who we thought would make the team, got cut. It happens all the time, but it's nice to see, especially at these positions of need. I want to see where we stand as far as cornerback. I want to see, I was going to say quarterback. I said corner, but I was going to say quarterback. But last season, remember, Derek Carr didn't take a snap under center during preseason. So I don't see Jimmy G. Let's look at Aiden O'Connell. Let's see the Aiden O'Connell show. Of course, these are kind of lower level NFL players he's going to go against, but it's going to be a hell of a lot more competition than he had with Purdue. Even if you play SEC teams, I mean, if you get a lower level NFL team, they're going to be better than most college football teams for sure. So it'd be very interesting to see him in action. Brian Hoyer, we've seen, he's a journeyman guy. He's here because he was former Patriot and knows the system. Chase Garbers is technically on the squad as the fourth quarterback. But honestly, let's be honest. At best, he's going to make the reserve team. He's not going to be on the 53-man roster unless something insane happens, injuries, and all that. I'm going to hope of that, but I think that's the only chance he makes 53-man roster. We can talk about it, but he'll probably play, of course, a lot in the preseason as well. But I'm going to see Aiden O'Connell. We did draft him. Art pick, of course. I don't see Art here. I think a lot of people are kind of hibernating, too, till the season starts. I usually go every week. This is every other week, so I think people are kind of out of their rhythm of watching the show as well. So that's okay. We'll do a little more once we get there. Again, I said this before. I am doing another channel on another platform. That one's actually kind of doing pretty well. So still love the Raiders. I'm Raider Nation. I want to do this, but I'm not sure how much time and effort I'm going to be able to give to this channel, especially with the lack of growth. I've got to be honest with you guys. So, but I do enjoy doing this. I do like talking with you guys. And let's see. I got 4 people in the chat, and I've got 2 people talking. What's up with that? Put your comments in the chat. Let's go. Let's go. This is interactive. This isn't school where you sit down and you listen and fall asleep on the desk. I want to hear your opinions on this, okay? I did give you out some information. What do you got to say about that? What is your tier ranking? Where do you agree? Where do you disagree? I want to hear about that. I want to hear what you got to say. Let's see. Otherwise, I can just make videos. I don't have to be live. Again, please subscribe. Yes, again, please subscribe. After I berated you for not commenting, subscribe while you're at it. Why not? Why not? Just do it. So, yeah, you want to. Just do it. And you can see me in my champion shirts, Raider Champion. I got a new one here. Camo for 4th of July. You guys have a good 4th of July. I agree with most of your tier lists, says Sandy. Okay, appreciate that. Thank you, Sandy. Absolutely. And like I said, there's some that are kind of iffy. You can go either way. But I think each team kind of has its own strengths and weaknesses. Of course, Patrick Mahomes, to me, if you're not going to put him number 1 on the quarterback tier, you're lying to yourself. I mean, and I don't like the guy. I don't like the Chiefs. I'm a Raider fan, but it is what it is. 2 rings and versus Jimmy G, no rings. I'm not counting sitting holding the clipboard. Nope, on the Patriots. Herbert, no rings yet. I know he's young. Wilson, 1 ring, but he's past his prime. Let's be honest. That team, that team's long gone. Seattle Legion of Boom. That's ancient history right now. So, of course, he's on the top of the heap. If you guys have a problem with that, I don't know what else to say about that. So, Soon the preseason starts. Yes, soon the preseason starts. Of course, that's in August. I can put that back up if you want. There's the list right there, so you can see that. Of course, 25th is technically the start of training camp. The rookies report a little bit earlier, as you can see. We have 3 preseason games. Now, remember, they started, they extended the season, regular season, by 1 game, 17 games to 16. Last season was an anomaly because we played the Hall of Fame game. We had 4 preseason games. Derek Carr didn't play 1 snap in any of those. I thought he would in the last one. Didn't happen. So I don't think Jimmy G is either. So we do have 3 games. San Francisco, the Rams. Those are normal ones. And then going old school, playing the Cowgirls again at the AT&T Park Stadium, whatever the hell they call it. Let's see. Let's take that off. And Sandy has a question here. What do you think the preseason shows? I think the preseason shows depth. I think the preseason shows if the coaching is kind of getting it to the second and third teamers. It kind of shows how deep your team really is. And that's pretty much it. When we usually, they would usually say the 4th preseason game, we have 4. Now we have 3. So the 3rd preseason game, you'd usually see a lot of teams will put their starters out for like a quarter. That's a good idea to see what's going on with that. Not only to get the rust off, but also, especially like Sean Payton, new coach with Denver. What's going on there? Is it working? And is he getting through? How deep is it, and how deep? Not only are they with the coaching mentality, but is it sinking in all the way down the 53-man roster? It's big. It's huge, because you have to have a team mentality, and I think that's the problem with Josh McDaniels. He's supposedly an X's and O's guy, and he's not a person guy at all. And the X's and O's were stinking. So what do we have left? We don't have much left. So I'm just saying. So I call it like I sees it. Yeah, Mahomes has been good. Yeah, I'd like to see the starters perform. I'm pretty sure Jimmy G is going to pass. For everybody's saying it, but you never know. Can't guarantee that. If he fails, it would not surprise me with this team. But I'm going to assume he is. I'm going to assume he's going to be the starter. He's going to be QB1 starter week 1. And I'm going to assume he's not going to take one single snap. Even if he wasn't made of glass, he would not, because Derek Carr didn't last year. That's what McDaniels does. He is definitely not going to take a snap in preseason. So you're going to see Hoyer, you're going to see Aiden O'Connell, and Chase Garbers. That's what you're going to see in these 3 games. So, like I said, that's another reason for preseason. I want to see what Aiden O'Connell has. It's going to be a little faster for him. Is he throwing? Is he making poor decisions with the ball? It's going to be quicker game. It's not starters. It's not Pro Bowlers he's playing against, but it is quicker than college. How is he here? I mean, we drafted this guy, 4th round? So what do we have? I mean, I want to see what's going on with this. So how good is their roster so far? Really not very good. Again, we still have issues. We still have issues with defensive tackle, in my opinion, unless Jerry Tillery comeback player. I'm still worried about that position. To me, we downgraded everybody's Levin Spillane when Devin Bush got hurt with Pittsburgh. He came in and played well. Again, number 1, he was a backup there. Number 2, he had a lot better players around him on that defense from top to bottom. I know they've got Watt, we have Max, but they have Minkah Fitzpatrick. I mean, they have a better defense overall. The Steelers do. So I want to see how he does on an ordinary team, below average defense kind of a team. So that and the interior offensive line. I mean, we have a glass quarterback with Jimmy G. So to me, I thought that would be addressed. Alex Bars is not the answer. Give me a break. Dylan Parham kind of looked a little lost there at guard. I think he might be a little undersized as well to play the position. I mean, he played center guard in college. Memphis. So I think that's his natural position in the NFL. I think he should be center. I think we're paying Andre James way too much money, unless he can restructure. But we're not going to cut him. So I don't know what the Raiders are really doing here. We're going to give Andre James $7 or $8 million, and then forsake all these other positions. The cornerback. Oh, we got Duke Shelley. Oh, okay. Okay, so it's almost like we're kind of throwing, like I said, it's rebuilding. We're going to throw in the towel again. I think we're going to finish fourth in the division right now. It's probably going to be the Chiefs again, and then the Chargers. Wanted to mute while I drink to wet my whistle. Guess it's going to take more time to rebuild. And not only that, is Josh McDaniels being able to handle the coaching? Have we seen that yet? Honestly, have we? Like I said, one game I've seen where I can say, yeah, he did a pretty good job with the 49er game. We lost, but that 49er team's vastly superior to us. And that was when Derek Carr was already benched. So, but we played. We played to them. Of course, they should have won. They should have blown us out, but it was close. So, can he handle being a head coach? Remember his history with Denver. What happened there? The Indianapolis no-show. I mean, and again, it comes back to Mark Davis, the owner. It's 20 years of futility with this guy, and you could say 30 years with Al declining before that. And we haven't won a Super Bowl in 40 years. But we were making the playoffs after that in the 80s. So, you can't win every year. I get that. But I would say a good 30 years. Now, we did get there in the 2000s, of course, with Gruden. Probably should have won the Super Bowl. I want to talk about Bill Callahan throwing that game. Everybody says it. I believe it too. But so at least, I would say at least 20 years since we've been a contender. Let's be honest. So. Peyton will improve yeah, he will. He will. I think not this season directly. Denver's going to be tough in 2024. I think Peyton's going to get a year under his belt. They're going to do something about the wide receiver situation. They can't put that much money in there. So I don't know if they're going to get rid of Jerry Jeudy or what's going to happen there. But to me, they got to do something about that situation. Javonte Williams should be fully recovered by then. I don't think he's going to be 100% this year off that ACL. They're going to be tough. They're going to be a tough team. They're going to challenge. Now, of course, they need a little help inside, like I've said before. But I think with Sean Payton, you have somebody who knows what he's doing again. It's so important. Look at our team. Does anybody have confidence that Josh McDaniels knows what he's doing? Let me know. Let me know in the chat if you're watching this on replay. Of course, you can't respond live. Let me know in the chat. If you're a Josh McDaniels believer, and tell me why. Please tell me why. Not Judy, the other one. Cortland Sutton? Yeah, Cortland Sutton. Yeah. Oh, I would love to have a guy like Cortland Sutton. To me, honestly, I would trade Devontae Adams at this point. Even in a rebuilding plan, we're not going to be good for another 2 years. We could get good draft capital for him. Why not at this point? And then take the money next year and go grab Cortland Sutton. Big body guy. He's basically a big bully out there, wide receiver. We've seen it. He's bullied just about every corner we've had on our team over the past few years. So, I don't know. And hope Meyer pans out as a stud tight end. Dave Casper 2.0. I'm not a big fan of Josh. I mean, how can you be? I mean, unless you're the doofus Mark Davis. What was it? 2-7. He said he was doing a fantastic job. I even put a video out on it. I couldn't believe it. We just lost. We go to 2-7. He's doing a fantastic job. Really? Are you watching the games at Hooters? Do you have it on the Raider game? Mark Davis, were you imbibing a little too much? I don't get that one. How can you be doing a fantastic job and be 2-7, coming off a team that was 10-7 last year? Explain that to me. No explanation. No, he's an idiot. So the circus starts at the top, the ringmaster, and flows its way down. So I don't know. It's harder and harder to believe that this thing can get turned around because of the leadership we have at the top. I hope so. Let's see. He's blind. He's blind. Yeah. No, he's blinded by the green. Well, let's be honest. He's making a boatload of money. The franchise took a huge jump in value from moving from Oakland to Vegas, of course. So we blundered, missing Hayner in the draft. And he went to the Saints, which is funny because Derek Carr's there, Fresno State. So it's weird. So anyway, I'm going to call this like the Saints knew. Yes, exactly. So I'm going to call this going about an hour. I'll be back in 2 weeks, guys. Keep your subscriptions up. Keep your bells up. Get your subscriptions on. If you're watching this on a live, it's already been an hour plus, so I don't know. Come on here and give me your opinion. Talk some smack. I don't care. Last time I was on 2 weeks ago, I could have used some mods. I'm just going to say it right now. 2 weeks ago, you can watch the video. It's still up. There was a lot of, let's just say I do another channel on TikTok. I would have been taken down for the stuff that was going on there. I had to stop what I was doing and just start deleting comments. It just got so bad. So anyway, I'll be back in 2 weeks. The 21st, we'll talk a little bit about training camp. Give you my opinions on what I expect and go from there. So thank you. Thank you for coming, Sandy. Appreciate it. So until then, I want to say thank you guys for coming in, the people that are here right now watching, and those of you who are watching on a replay, thank you for watching this long. I appreciate that. Hey, don't worry about it. It's okay. I've never seen anything. Hefe was in here and a couple other guys, and it got real heated, and a lot of things that shouldn't be said were said. I'll just say that. I think since this is YouTube, it's still up. if you want to voyeur on that, you can. But eventually, I had to just stop because I was just presenting my thing. I just had to stop and just start deleting comments. It was just getting so insane. So anyway, thank you guys for coming out. And as always, you know what I'm gonna say: go Raiders.
Ask you something. With all the distractions that you have off the field, how are you able to keep focused on winning football games as you do and do throughout the year?
When you have great coaches, then after you have great coaches, you get great players. You have a great organization, and you tell them one thing: just win, baby.